What do you make of GSP not this fight with Bisping not being made yet?
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on there. I mean, the belief is, and this came from Dana that said, I'd like to do it on International Fight Week, which means in July. July is getting closer and closer, so you think that would start. That fight's happening. That fight has been announced. The press conference is happening. There's no question that's going to happen. Both are in the USADA pool. Both are under contract. I mean, everything is right there. I don't know that GSP is holding that up. I don't know that Bisping's holding that up. That could be just the company hasn't decided what date they want to put it on. So I don't know that I fully agree that that fight is being held up as much as some of the logistics just haven't come together. But I don't think there's any, I'm not sensing that there's smoke there of anything going wrong as much as, look, July is a little bit away. It's always been targeted for July. The venues aren't announced. The tickets aren't on sale. The posters aren't made. Hold on. I think maybe that fight got announced earlier than it needed to, but I don't know that once the date is finally given that it's going to be some short notice deal. I just think that they're not to that week yet.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. GSP came out and said that he thinks it's going to be at the end of the summer. So,
what do you think that means? August, April, May, June, July? So they're talking about now another
August,
month
September.
later?
Yeah. Also,
well, if anyone would know, I'd say it's a participant in that fight. I wonder what in the hell's holding it up, which also makes me think, well, what are they having planned for Fight Week? Because that's a big week. They're going to have something big coming down the barrel if you're going to hold GSP and Bisping out.
Well,
what is it that you got that's trumping that?
Well, Dana said that he's not going to put Jones on a main event right off the bat, but he also came out and said Jones can come back and fight International Fight Week. And if he doesn't, he's gonna have DC and Manoa fight in Anaheim.
Okay, now I think you're wrong about that. Unless there was another statement, I only saw one by Dana specifically about Jones and Fight Week, and Jones misses that by a matter of days, 6 days or something. He misses it, but only briefly. Now I don't know that I agree because I was there when he was suspended, and his suspension is real close to like July 2nd. So, and Fight Week, I believe, is the 11th this year. It's after the 4th of July, the way the calendar matches up. So I think that if you looked closer, and this is off the top of my head without actually looking closer, but I think Jones is actually cleared by about 6 days. The problem is he can't get a license until he's up. They cannot give him a license and say, yeah, okay, we're going to have the hearing while you're suspended and your license gets activated on this day and this time. It doesn't work that way. The suspension has to clear, then you have to go into the hearing. So that would be a major mess to dump millions of dollars into something like that and not have him. So that could have been something more that Dana was alluding to. But I think if you actually looked at when he's cleared, I believe he is clear before any of those fights happen. That's my opinion.
Now, one of the things that we know about you is you're a fantastic wrestler.
Thanks, buddy.
You're a great fighter, world-class swimmer, best baseball player in the world. But what I did not know is how good you are at the center position in basketball.
Yes, basketball, but specifically the center position. If those guys were to work with me or if I was allowed to work with them, and that would be the only part where I could participate, I could show them how to get more tip-offs. That's true. That is true. There's things that you don't know about that position, and most people think that it's height because that's where it starts, like, you know, in the pee-wees. Hey, whoever the tallest kid is going to play center. There's skills to that, and there's skills to knowing how to tip the ball and where it's going to go, and I don't see a lot of the fundamentals being implemented because a lot of the fundamentals are missed when you're a youth because it simply goes to whoever's taller. That is true. That is true that I do know that position. What?
I thought you were going to run with this thing.
That's all I got. What do you got? I see you got another note.
No, I've got.
Who gives you those notes? I like when you come in and you ask me questions. I think that it's a good way to steer this. I like when you have talking points. Is Bruce still providing those for you?
Yeah, he is. But a lot of this stuff is dated. So let's go through this. Alex Rodriguez buys a UFC franchise rights for Miami, Florida. Peculiar move, as it is known, the UFC gym franchise is the only business the UFC owns that they lose money on. Chael can now teach Alex the fundamentals of hitting a baseball and executing a double-A takedown all at the same location.
Well, now, wait a second. That's very interesting. Somebody bought it like a territorial rights to anything that's UFC, or what do you mean? Or he bought into a UFC gym?
It says he bought the UFC gym franchise rights for Miami, Florida.
Oh, he bought the gym rights. And I don't know that that's a true statement, that he said that that's the one arm of the business that they have that is known to lose money. I've never heard that. I've been to a number of UFC gyms and they're packed. I don't even know if that part of it is true, and I don't recall seeing a UFC gym ever going under. In fact, here in Oregon, they just opened another one. So I don't know if that's actually correct.
All right, Nick Diaz released a video.
Hey, let's do this real fast. Did you read about, this happened yesterday, did you read about Aaron Hernandez? He was the football player for the, do I have that name right? He played for the Patriots?
You do.
Aaron Hernandez, he was just cleared a week ago. He went to trial.
Double murder.
For a double murder, and they cleared him, and his attorney came out and said, yeah, and we can also prove he didn't do the first one, and we're going through an appeals process, and we're going to get that done. It just looked like if there was ever a time that there was some kind of hope, and this guy did do the murders. I don't wish him well, but if there appeared to be some light at the end of the tunnel for him, it would have been what had happened in last week, and then he did a suicide. Did you read about that?
I did, and I immediately thought, okay, somebody killed him because of that. Because why would you hang yourself last week? Or, you've had plenty of time to hang yourself. Why would you hang yourself right after getting acquitted of something?
I'll tell you, ever want to go into conspiracies, go look into the prisons. It's very hard to find out whatever happened in there. But from the piece that I read, and that influenced me, and I'll accept it as truth, it was pretty clear that he had done it himself, because they said he even took steps to make sure that if they found him midway through, they couldn't get to him in time. He wanted to make sure he was successful at the act. But the timing did surprise me in that he got his first piece of good news in a long, long time, just 6 days before.
Now, did you notice Arkansas had like a bunch of executions planned, and the reason they had them planned is they're out of this medicine that kills the people, and there was a big stink going on about that. Did you? Yeah.
So you're very close on that. So all states that have the death penalty have a whole bunch of executions plans. Largely, they never get carried out, and a guy just dies a natural life as he sits on death row. In Arkansas, they are trying to speed up a few executions because one of the medicines that they use is only going to be in existence for another 30 days at the day that this broke, which I think is about 4 days ago. So it's inside of a month. So they're like, hey, if we want to do this and we're using lethal injection, we got to go. Now, the company that makes that medicine is like, hey, wait just a second. We don't want to be known as the killing company. You use multiple medicines to actually terminate somebody's life, and we're not going to put this on the shelf anymore if you're branding us as the one. So that was kind of the push and pull there. But yes, I did read that in Arkansas, and there's one guy in particular who they're trying to speed up, and that's why it made news.
Okay. All right, this is interesting because right next to your gym, my gym too, Gracie Baja, is a weed place. There's weed places all over Portland now. You can go get weed anywhere you want. Okay, big grappling match coming up. Dylan Dennis against Jake Shields. Submission Underground 4.
May 14th. Yep, you're live at flowcombat.com. That is a big match. Those guys have heat. Dennis just signed with a Bellator. Signed with Bellator. He's under contract. He doesn't have an opponent yet. In fact, he was going to be on the Madison Square Garden card. Something happened with getting that match officially done. But yeah, he and Jake Shields, there's always bad blood between those two. Dennis is just going to stir up stuff like that, and Jake Shields is just one of those guys that's not going to take it. It's as simple as that.
I love those guys. I love the scrap pack.
Thoughts are hard, man. Take your time. It's right in front of you. It's written down. The microphone's there. It'll come out eventually. Process it. Speak it. Would you like me to do something and buy you a little bit more time?
Aaron Pico. Is Aaron Pico fighting on your card?
Aaron Pico's fighting if anybody's crazy enough to fight him. That's the problem with the son of a bitch is he's 19 years old. He's got a 0-0 record, and he's world known as a hammer. So you got to find somebody to come in and do that work. And it can't just be, it's really tough for a matchmaker when you get a guy like that because Cain Velasquez had the same problem. Dana finally had to sign him because nobody would fight him on the smaller scenes. You got a guy like Pico. You can't just bring in anybody. There is anybody's out there that's like, yeah, for the opportunity, I'll go out and take that beating. You can't give him a guy like that. And you also, a guy with a 4-0 or a 5-0 record where a commission would sanction it and say, yeah, this is a fair fight, let's do it. That guy's going, hey, man, I didn't work all these years to go get a blemish by some kid that's 0-0. It's a tough spot, and they're having a hard time getting anybody, the right guy, to agree to it. But Pico is on that card as of now.
Why wouldn't you tell me that if I cussed at practice, I had to do push-ups before I cussed at practice?
Well, I just thought there was some things that you would learn by watching your peers. There's a reason nobody in there curses except you. And so I wasn't even going to tell you because I thought, well, I don't want to embarrass you. But at the same time, you were only going to get so many of those out before Fabiano stuck you in the corner. And I know you didn't want to be the new guy in the corner in push-up position like a little kid. So I finally just had to let you know, hey, you're not allowed to curse here.
Okay.
I mean, that was my reasoning.
You could have told me before.
But I mean, I thought it was appropriate that I let you know at some point. You know, it was like you having, something on your face. It's like, well, how long do I let you walk around like that before I say, hey, by the way, you got to go wipe that off your face. I didn't really know how to handle that.
Well, you've let blood fall all over my face before saying, hey, you got a bloody mouth.
No, I've told you when that blood's running down your face. I've told you right here on the air.
All right. So while you were gone,
let me do this.
Please do something.
Well,
please bring something to the table today.
All right, I'm having a very positive day.